Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Ram
Ram
Hare Hare.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदानेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नारायणं नमस्कृत्य चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो ततो जय मुदीरे बोलो श्री राधे गोलोकानंद भगवान की जय
जय
बोलो श्रीमद् भागवतम की
जय
हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna everyone.
हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्णा सचिन कैसे
हरे
हो
कृष्ण ठीक हूँ कैन यू हियर मी
या कैन cannot see you but we can hear you
कैमरा इज ऑफ या
Caller.
that's fine cool so हम लोग लास्ट वीक चैप्टर 19th पढ़ रहे थे एंड ऑल्सो वी ऑन द 19th श्लोक हम लोग 9th कैंटो में है आउट ऑफ 12 कैंटो में वी आर 9th स्कंद और इस अध्याय में हम महाराज ययाति के बारे में पढ़ रहे हैं लाइक हाउ वी सी हाउ महाराज ययाति वाज totally materialistic even though he was ruling the whole kingdom and then how he gives up everything and surrenders to Lord Krishna. That's what we are reading. And so we'll start from Shlok 19. Anilji?
Tasmadetamaham tvaktya brahmane dhyaya manasam nirdvando nirahankaras chariswami mragaya saha. Therefore, I shall now give up all these desires and meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, free from the dualities of mental concoction and free from false prestige. I shall wander in the forest with the animals. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Actually, we will start from Shlok 18th, actually. Sorry. We will start from Shlok 18th.
Okay.
Anilji, वापस से.
Yeah. Purnam Varsha Sahasram Me Vishayan Sevato Tathapi Chanusavanam Trishna Teshu Pajayate. I have spent a full 1,000 years enjoying sense gratification, yet my desire to enjoy such pleasure increases daily. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is what Maharaj Yayāti is explaining. Yeah, that he has spent full 1,000 years. Says a verse, Sahastram. How Vishyana Sevito Asakrit. Yeah, he is the big king, spending and engaged in sense gratification. But what he is saying is, after doing this for thousands of years, Tathapi Chanu Sonam Trishna Teshu Jayate. The Trishna, right, the desire to enjoy such pleasure still keeps increasing. There is no end to it, never fully satisfied, is what Maharaj Yayati is telling. And he is telling all this to Devyani. If you remember, Devyani is his wife, and he's telling all this to Devyani. And if you remember, he gave a story of a goat and a she goat, right? And then how he was essentially reciting his own story by telling that story to Devyani. And the reason he was telling that story is to tell her that how he is engaged in so much sense gratification, and now it's not enough. He's never happy with that. So we'll now read the Shlok 19. Ajay?
Tasmadetamaham tyavakta brahmanya dhyaya manasam Nirdhundo nirhanda raschi rachirishyami mrigai saha. Therefore, I shall now give up all these desires and meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, free from the dualities of the mental concatenations and free from false prestige. I shall wander in the forest with the animals. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what Maharaj Yayāti is now saying that after all the sense gratification, which is never satisfying me, always increasing, I at this point shall give up all these desires. Tasma ita aham tyakta. Tyakta, right? He wants to give up all the desires and do what? Brahmanya Adhyaya Manasam. Meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so be free from the duality of mental concussion and free from false prestige. Nir-ahankar. Yeah, Nir-ahankar, free from false prestige and shall wander in the forest, is what he's saying. And let's just read some of the purport. Sachin?
To go to the forest and live there with the animals, meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the only means by which to give up lusty desires. Unless one gives up such desires, one's mind cannot be freed from material contamination. Therefore, if one is at all interested in being freed from the bondage of repeated birth, death, old age, and disease, after a certain age one must go to the forest. Pancha Shoradhvam Vanam Brajet. After 50 years of age, one should voluntarily give up family life and go to the forest. The best forest is Vrindavan, where one need not live with the animals but can associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who never leaves Vrindavan. Cultivating Krishna consciousness in Vrindavana is best means of being liberated from material bondage. For in Vrindavan, one can automatically meditate upon Krishna. Vrindavan has many temples, and in one or more of these temples, one may see the form of Supreme Lord as Radha Krishna or Krishna Balaram and meditate upon this form. As expressed here by the words Brahmani Adhyaya, one should concentrate one's mind upon the Supreme Lord, Parabrahma. This Parabrahma is Krishna, as confirmed by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. Krishna and his abode, Vrindavan, are not different. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Aradhyo Bhagavana Vrajesha Tanayas Tadadhama Vrindavanam. Vrindavan is also good, is as good as Krishna. Therefore, if one somehow or other gets the opportunity to live in Vrindavan, and if one is not a pretender but simply lives in Vrindavan and concentrates his mind upon Krishna, one is liberated from material bondage. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what is mentioned here is, so here how we see like Maharaj Yayāti is going to the forest, right? Surrendering everything. In this today's world, what is being mentioned is essentially, the best forest is Vrindavan, where one can associate with all the devotees, right? Who are the devotees of Supreme Personality of Godhead, is what is mentioned. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Rinaji.
Hare Krishna Vaya. Drishtam Shrutam Sadbuddhva Nanudhyayen Sandishet Sansatim Chatmanasham Cha Tatra Vidwan Sa Atmadrika. One who knows that material happiness, whether good or bad in this life or in the next, on this planet or on the heavenly planets, is temporary and useless, and that an intelligent person should not try to enjoy or even think of such things, is the knower of the self. Such a self realized person knows quite well that material happiness is the very cause of continued material existence and forgetfulness of one's own constitutional position. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Because one has forgotten their own constitutional position, all this material existence and things are happening, right? So what is mentioned. Nice purport. This Hare Krishna, Tarun.
Krishna. The living entity is a spiritual soul, and the material body is his engagement. This is the beginning of spiritual understanding. Dehinosmim yatha dehe komaranam yauvayanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra na muyati. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Bhagavad Gita 2.13. The real mission of human life is to get free from engagement in the material body. Therefore, Krishna descends to teach the conditioned soul about spiritual realization and how to become free from material bondage. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. The word dharmasya glani means pollution of one's existence. Our existence is now polluted and it must be purified. Sattvam suddhyat. The human life is meant for this purification, not for thinking of happiness in terms of the external body, which is the cause of material bondage. Therefore, in this verse, Maharaj Yayāti advises that whatever material happiness we see and whatever is promised for enjoyment is all merely flickering and temporary. Brahma bhuvantala loka punar avartino. Arjuna. Even if one is promoted to Brahmaloka, if one is not freed from the material bondage, one must return to this planet Earth and continue in the miserable condition of material existence. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. One should always keep this understanding in mind so as not to be allured by any kind of sense enjoyment in this life or in the next. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah? So the important part mentioned in this paragraph is that the living entity is a spiritual soul and not the material body. Material body is just the engagement. And once you understand this, also Lord Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita is Dehino ismin yatha dehe kumaram yovanam jara. Right? The jara is the old age. Like how the soul continuously passes in this body. Like we have seen that, right? From boyhood to youth to old age. And at the end, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. Yeah? Tatha dehantar praptir. And dhiras tatrena muhayati. Yani the people who understand this, they are not bewildered by such a change. But the more important part which is mentioned is that that's the real mission of human life. Is how do you get free from this engagement in the material body? Yeah. And it's also mentioned one who is fully aware of this truth is self-realized. But aside from him, everyone suffers in the cycle of birth and death. Mrityu sansar vartamani. This understanding is one of true intelligence, and anyone contrary to this is but a cause of unhappiness. Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Atev Shanta. Only a Krishna conscious person who knows the aim and object of life is peaceful. All others, whether it's karmis, jnanis, or yogis, are restless and cannot enjoy real peace. Anil?
Ityuktva nahusho jayam tadiyam purve maya dattva sujarsam tasmadadade vigatspraha. Sukadeva Goswami said, after speaking in this way to his wife, Devyani, King Yayāti, who was now free from all material desires, called his youngest son, Puru, and returned Puru's youth in exchange for his own old age. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah? So if you remember, King Yayāti, becomes old and he is cursed, but then, he gets his young age through his son, Puru. But then once he decides to give up all the sense enjoyment, he calls his son Puru again and exchanges his youth life for the old age. Ajay?
Tishi Dakshin Purvasyam Duhyam Dakshinato Yudam Prachityam Turvasum Chakra Udichya Manumeshwaram. King Yayāti gave the southeast to his son Druhya, the south to his son Yadu, and the west to his son Turvasu, and north to his son Anu. In this way, he divided the kingdom. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Rinaji? Rinaji?
Yes, you asked me, Bhaiya.
Mhm.
Okay. भूमण्डलस्य सर्वस्य पूर्वमहर्तं विशाम् अभिषिच्याग्रजान्तस्य वशे स्थाप्य वनं ययो. Yayati enthroned his youngest son Puru as the emperor of the entire world and the proprietor of all its riches, and he placed all the other sons who were older than Puru under Puru's control. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So he made Puru as the emperor of the entire world. Sachin?
आसीवितां वर्ष पुगानं षड्वर्गं विषयेषु सह क्षणेन मुमुचे नीडं जातपक्ष इव द्विजः. Having enjoyed sense gratification for many, many years, O King Parikshit, Yayati was accustomed to it, but he gave it up entirely in a moment, just as a bird flies away from the nest as soon as its wings have grown. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what is mentioned is King Yayati, even though he ruled like for thousands of years and enjoyed the sense gratification, Kshanena Muche Nidam. Kshanena Muche, and within a kshan, within a moment, he entirely gave up all the sense enjoyment. Yeah, like a saying where the bird flies away from the nest as soon as its wings have grown. Is the example given, right? Tarun?
The Maharaj Yayati was immediately liberated from the bondage of conditioned life is certainly astonishing. The example given herewith is appropriate. A tiny baby bird, dependent fully on its father and mother even to eat, suddenly flies away from the nest when its wings have grown. Similarly, if one fully surrenders to a Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is immediately liberated from the bondage of conditioned life. As promised by the Lord Himself, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyam Shamami. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4.18, Kirta Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasa Abhira Sambha Yavana Kasadhaya Yenye Cha Papa Yad Aprasaryayaha Sudhyanti Tasmai Prabhavishnave Namaha. Kirta Huna Andhra Pulinda Pulkasa Abhira Sumbha Yavana and the Khasa races and even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord, for He is the supreme power. I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto Him. Lord Vishnu is so powerful that He can deliver anyone at once if He is pleased to do so. And Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, can we please immediately if we accept His order by surrendering unto Him, as Maharaj Yayati did. Maharaj Yayati was eager to serve Vasudeva, Krishna, and therefore as soon as he wanted to renounce material life, Lord Vasudeva helped him. We must therefore be very sincere in surrendering ourselves onto the lotus feet of the Lord. Then we can immediately be liberated from all the bondage of conditioned life. This is clearly expressed in the next verse. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Shiva Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Krishna.
तत्र निर्मुक्तशस्त्रषडगम् आत्मानुभूत्य लिड्गः परेमले ब्रह्माणि वासुदेवे लेभे गतिं भागवतं प्रतीतः. Because King Yayāti completely surrendered unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, he was freed from all contamination of the material modes of nature. Because of his self-realization, he was able to fix his mind upon the transcendence, Para-Brahman Vasudeva, and thus he ultimately achieved the position of an associate of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So what is mentioned is King Yayāti completely surrendered, right? Parayamle Brahmani Vasudeve. So he became Nirmutta Samasta Sangha. Yeah. And Atmanubhutya. Yeah. He got the self-realization. He got away from the three modes of the material natures, right? And was able to fix his mind. And so what happened? Lebhe gatim bhagavatim pratitah. Yeah, he became associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what is mentioned here? So this, Anilji?
The word vidut means cleansed is very significant. Everyone in this material world is contaminated. Karanam guna sangosya. Because we are in a material condition, we are contaminated either by satoguna, by rajoguna, or by tamoguna. Even if one becomes a qualified Brahman in the mode of goodness, satoguna, he is still materially contaminated. One must come to the platform of Shuddha Sattva, transcending Sattva-guna, then one is Vidut Trilangya, cleansing of the contamination caused by the three modes of material nature. This is possible by the mercy of Krishna, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17. Shranavatam Swakatha Kshanaha Punyasravanam Kirtanaha Pradi Anantaha Statoba Hai Abhadrani Vidhunati Suhur Satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee. Cleanliness cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear the messages which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. A person trying to be perfectly Krishna conscious by hearing the words of Krishna from Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita certainly has all the dirty things cleansed from the core of his heart. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says, Cheto Darpana Marijanam, the process of hearing and chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord washes away the dirty things accumulated in the core of the heart. As soon as one is freed from all the dirt of material contamination, as Maharaj Yayāti was, one's original position as an associate of the Lord is revealed. This is called Swarupa Siddhi, or personal perfection. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so see how one's original position as an associate of the Lord is revealed. Yeah. So that is revealed when you surrender to Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? And that process is hearing and chanting, right? We read those nine different ways by which you can devote to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? And once that is done, then what happens is and then everyone gets freed from the dirt of material contamination. And what is important, which is mentioned, is one's original position. And what is the original position? That says an associate of the Lord is revealed, right? That's the self-realization, and that's the Swarup Siddhi, personal perfection, when you realize your original position and you become associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? That's what is mentioned here. Ajay?
कृत्वा गाथाम देवयानी मेने प्रस्तोभमात्मनः स्त्री पुंसो स्नेह वैकल्यव्यात् परिहासमे वेरितम. When Devyani heard Maharaja Yayati's story as of the he-goat and she-goat, she understood that this story, which was presented as if a funny joke for entertainment between husband and wife, was intended to awaken her to her constitutional position. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, as you know, how Maharaj Yayati gave the story of a he-goat and she-goat to Devyani. And then Devyani, of course, understood that this was essentially to awaken their own constitutional position. Yeah. Srinath? Srinath?
Yeah. When one actually awakens from material life, one understands his real position as an eternal servant of Krishna. This is called liberation. Muktir hitvan yatha rupam swarupena vyashishta. Bhagavad Gita 2.10.6. Under the influence of Maya, everyone living in this material world thinks that he is the master of everything. Ahankar vimudhatma karatham iti manyate. One thinks that there is no God or controller and that one is independent and can do anything. This is the material condition, and when one awakens from this ignorance, he is called liberated. Maharaj Yayati had delivered Devyani from the well, and finally, as a dutiful husband, he instructed her with the story about the he-goat and she-goat, and thus delivered her from the misconception of material happiness. Devyani was quite competent to understand her liberated husband, and therefore she decided to follow him as his faithful wife. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sachin?
Sa sannivasam surudam prapayamiva gacchatam vigyayeshwaratantranam maya virachitam prabho sarvatra sangam mutsrujya swapno स्वप्नोपम्येन भार्गवी कृष्णे मनः समावेश्य व्यधुनोल्लिपिङ्गमात्मनः. Thereafter, Devayani, the daughter of Shukracharya, understood that the materialistic association of husbands, friends, and relatives is like the association in a hotel full of tourists. The relationship of society, friendship, and love are created by the Maya of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, exactly as in a dream. By the grace of Krishna, Devayani gave up her imaginary position in the material world, completely fixing her mind upon Krishna. She achieved liberation from the gross and subtle bodies. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So Devyani too got the liberation. Yeah. Says Krishna Manah Samavesha. By completely surrendering to Lord Sri Krishna, yeah, what happened? Vyaguno Linga Atmanam. What is mentioned, Laghu and the gross body, right? Basically, the shuttle and gross body, she achieved the liberation from. What is a gross body?
Panchbhutas, this body, physical body.
This physical body is the gross body.
Gross body, yeah.
Yeah. And made up of all these 5 elements, which are, what are the 5 elements the gross body is made up of?
Vayu, Agni, Akash,
Water,
Jal.
Water and earth, right? Vayu, Agni, Akash, water and earth. Those are the 5 elements this gross body is made up of. And then, and the shuttle body. What's the shuttle body?
Mind, intelligence, and ego.
Right. Yeah, that's the Suksham Sharir. Right. So shuttle body is the Suksham Sharir made up of Man, Ahankar, and Buddhi. Mind, intelligence, and self-ego. How do you get the liberation? When you get away from the gross and shuttle bodies, you realize your soul. That's the self-realization. Right. That's how you achieve the liberation. And to understand that, you completely fix your mind to Lord Shri Krishna. This is what Devyani did, the wife of King Yayāti, right? And she also got the liberation. Okay?
Isn't it a little bit ironical that Devyani is daughter of Sukracharya, who is anti-Vishnu, and she
Yes.
by right association she is
She got liberated.
liberated. Yeah.
That's true. And at the same time, remember, Sukracharya is also Brahman, even though he is the guru of all the demons, right? He is also from the Brahminical culture, and of course, he supports the Asuras. But Devyani, of course, being her daughter, she understood all that, right? And being by the grace of Krishna. That's why it's mentioned by the grace of Lord Sri Krishna, right? Everything happens by the grace of Krishna, irrespective of what one is, right? And then, of course, she achieved the liberation. Wow. Nice. Yeah, thanks for the comments, Shabro. Tarun?
One should be convinced that he is a spirit soul, part and parcel of the Supreme Brahman, Krishna, but has somehow or other been entrapped by the material coverings of the gross and subtle bodies consisting of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. One should know that the association of society, friendship, love, nationalism, religion, and so on are nothing but creations of Maya. One's only business is to become Krishna conscious and render service unto Krishna as extensively as possible for a living being. In this way, one is liberated from material bondage. By the grace of Krishna, Devyani attained this state through the instructions of her husband. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, the important part which is mentioned here is one's only business is to become Krishna conscious. Especially for the human beings. That's the instruction being given, right? That's the business of the human being. The reason to be a human being is not just to be a billionaire or, to have the sense gratification and do whatever else. But the real why as a human being we have taken a birth, right, is to become Krishna conscious and then render service unto Krishna. Rendering service and surrendering to Krishna is again those 9 processes we talked about, Shravanam, Kirtanam, right? Like reading Srimad Bhagavatam as extensively as possible for a living being. Because as a living being, whatever is possible, right, to the extent possible, to devote to Lord Shri Krishna and render service unto Sri Krishna. That's the only business of a human being, is what is mentioned. Of course, not very easy and practical for us to do, but that's the only business of a human being in the human form of life. Because if that doesn't happen and is not liberated, then again you are in the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. That's what this whole material bondage is. But otherwise, one can be liberated from this material bondage by the grace of Lord Shri Krishna. Yeah, that's what is mentioned. Hare Krishna, Rashiksham Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Nice to see you. पढ़ेंगे?
हाँ. नमस्तुभ्यं भगवते वासुदेवाय वेदसे सर्वभूताधिवासाय शांताय बृहते नमः. O Lord Vasudev, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are the creator of the entire cosmic manifestation. You live as the super soul in everyone's heart and are smaller than the smallest. Yet, you are the greater than the greatest and are all pervading. You appear completely silent, having nothing to do, but this is due to your all-pervading nature and your fullness in all opulences. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so who is saying this, right? Devyani is glorifying Lord Shri Krishna, right? And she is saying you are the creator of the entire cosmic manifestation. Namastubhyam Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vedase is the creator of the whole universe. the whole cosmic manifestation. Sarva Bhuta Adivasaya. Sarva Bhut, yani all the pranis. You live as the super soul in everyone's heart. Sarva Bhuta Divasaya. And of course, you are smaller than the smallest, yet greater than the greatest. Like Brihate is the greater than the greatest, and you are all pervading. You are completely Shantaya, yeah, completely silent. And of course, I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport, Shiva Prabhu.
How Devyani became self-realized by the grace of her great husband Maharaj Yayāti is described here. Describing such realization is another way of performing the bhakti process. Sharvanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pad Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atam Nivedanam. Hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting, are especially important. By hearing from her husband about the greatness of Lord Vasudeva, Devyani suddenly became convinced and surrendered herself unto lotus feet of the Lord. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is knowledge. Bhunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadete. Surrender to Vasudev is the result of hearing about him for many, many births. As soon as one surrenders unto Vasudev, one is liberated immediately. As soon as one surrenders unto Vasudev, one is liberated immediately because of her association with her great husband Maharaj Yayāti. Devyani became purified, adopted the means of bhakti yoga, and thus became liberated. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport of the 9th canto, 19th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled King Yayati Achieves Liberation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, right? So what is mentioned here, and we have read this again and again. How do you perform the bhakti process, right? And that's what there are 9 ways of doing the devotional service. This is how you surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is how you surrender. This is how you do the devotional service. And we have seen Shravanam, Kirtanam. I think all of us remember this, right? The 9 different ways. Is the Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Ishmaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. Yeah, those are the 9 different ways. And what is mentioned in this paragraph is the Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Ishmaranam, right? And especially what says Shravanam, Kirtanam, hearing and chanting, yeah, are especially important. This is how we do the chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. We start with, we do the listening, reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Vishnu Ishmaranam, the example given is of Prahlad Maharaj, constantly remembering Narayan. Padasevanam, whose example is given? Serving the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Yeah. Sorry. That's Goddess Lakshmi, right? So Goddess Lakshmi's example is given, like doing constantly serving the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. And then, of course, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasham, Like Lord Hanumanji's example is given Dashyam, Arjun's example is given as Sakshyam, right? So like that, all these 9 different ways are accepted as pure devotional service. Yeah. And then also it's mentioned, and once you do all this devotional service, that's when you get the knowledge. And what is, once you surrender, mention that this is knowledge. That's the knowledge, to surrender to Lord Vasudev. And then in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Vasudev himself says that Bahunam Janmanam Ante, like many, many births, after many, many births, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, Gyanvan Mam Prapadyate. Yani ki Gyanvan, the people who are intelligent, they surrender to Lord Vasudev. Yeah, and then they say Vasudev Sarvamitim Say Mahatmasu Dullabha. That's the shlok from Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. All right, and this of course ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 9th canto, 9th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled King Yayāti achieves liberation. Bolo Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Jai.
And this is what we learn from King Yayāti's story, right? Of how he was the sense gratification and how he gets to the devotional service. And this 20th adhyay, we continue to read. This is about the dynasty of Puru. Yeah. And as we know, Puru was the youngest son of Maharaj Yayāti. Okay. And now we are going to read about dynasty of King Puru. So we'll start from Shlok 1. Anilji.
Sri Badarayani Ruvacha Purorvansham Pravakshami Yatra Jato Asi Bharat Yatra Rajarshayo Vansya Brahma Vansyascha Jagire. Sukadev Goswami said, O Maharaj Parikshit, descendant of Maharaj Bharat, I shall now describe the dynasty of Puru, in which you were born, in which many saintly kings appeared, and from which many dynasties of Brahmins began. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so now Sri Badrayani Ruwach. Sri Badrayani Ruwach is referred to whom? Sri Badrayani is who?
Sukadev Goswami.
Sukhdev Goswami, right? Sukhdev Goswami is also referred as Sri Badrayani. And he's telling to Maharaj Parikshit that descendant of Maharaj Bharat, Jato Asi Bharata, and he's going to describe the dynasty of Puru, and he's mentioning that this is the dynasty in which even Maharaj Parikshit was born, right? In all Mahabharata, when we see how Maharaj Parikshit was born, who were the parents of Parikshit Maharaj?
Parikshit Maharaj,
Vedavyas.
Abhimanyu and Subhadra.
Oh, sorry.
Right. Yeah. Vedavyas wrote the Mahabharata, and of course, Subhadra and Abhimanyu. Yeah. And Abhimanyu, we know, son of Arjun, right?
Arjun.
And so from Subhadra, Maharaj Parikshit was born, and that's the descendant of Bharat Maharaj, and that's the dynasty of Puru. That's what we are going to now read. And it says Yatra Rajarshayo and Brahmavanshascha, like Lord of Brahmins and the kings were born from that dynasty. It's a nice purport. Let's read this, Ajay.
Prabhuji, this Badrayani, does it mean something? Like, is there, does the word Badrayani has anything there?
Yeah.
मैं बताता हूँ। वादरायणी जो है ना, वादरायणी इनको सुखदेव गोस्वामी के पिताजी का नाम है, वादरायण मुनि, वादरायण। वादरायणी उनके पुत्र को डिनोट कर रहा है, इसलिए सुखदेव गोस्वामी।
धन्यवाद प्रभु जी।
बट सुखदेव गोस्वामी जी के फादर कौन है?
वादरायणी उनका एक दूसरा नाम है,
व्यासदेव
फादर का, व्यासदेव का।
व्यासदेव जी।
Okay. So, sorry, are we reading this purport, Ajay?
There are many historical instances by which we can understand that from Kshatriyas many Brahmanas have been born, and that from Brahmanas many Kshatriyas have been born. The Lord himself says in Bhagavad Gita 4.13, Chatur Varnyam Mayastram Gunkarma Vibhasgasah Vibhagasah, according to the three modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the four divisions of human society were created by me. Therefore, regardless of the family in which one takes birth, when one is qualified with the symptoms of particular sections, he is to be described accordingly. Yel Lakshanam Praktam, one's place in the Varna division of society is determined according to one's symptoms or qualities. This is maintained everywhere in the Shastra. Birth is a secondary consideration. The first consideration is one's qualities and activities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so this is the most important thing mentioned here is that regardless of the family in which one takes birth, when one is qualified with the symptoms of a particular section, right? Those are the symptoms described as Kshatriya, as Vaishya, as Brahman, as Shudra, right? And if you have the symptoms, that is the first consideration. One's qualities and activities are the first consideration of knowing a person, and birth is a secondary consideration. Sachin?
Janame Jayo Yabhut Puroho Prachin Vansta Stutasastha Pravirod Atha Manusyurve Tasma Charupado Abhavat. King Janmejaya was born of this dynasty of Puru. Janmejaya's son was Prachinvana, and his son was Pravira. Thereafter, Pravira's son was Manusyu, and from Manusyu came the son named Charupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Rinaji? Rinaji?
सिद्धुर्भूत पुत्रस्तस्माद् बहुगवस्ततः संयातिस्तस्याहं ययाति रौद्राश्वस्तसुतः स्मृतः. The son of Charupad was Sudyu, and the son of Sudyu was Bahugava. Bahugava's son was Samyati. From Samyati came a son named Amyati, from whom Rudrasava was born. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Tarun? Tarun?
Grutyastasya Kakeyu Kashyeyu Sthadandileyu Kte Yukaha Jaleyu Sannatesyuscha Dharmasatya Vrato Yavaha Dashetespas Rasyaha Putra Vaneyuschavamam Smrataha Tata Chemani Mamitrina Mukhyasya Jagdamyanaha Atmana. Rudrasva had 10 sons named Mrityu, Kakseyu, Stanidhileyu, Krityayuka, Jaleyu, Sanatyeyu, Dharmeyu, Satyeyu, Vratyeyu, and Vaneyu. Of these 10 sons, Vaneyu was the youngest. As the 10 senses, which are products of the universal life, act under control of life, these 10 sons of Rudrashva acted under Rudrashva's full control. All of them were born of the Apsara named Grahatachi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shiva Prabhu?
Rityo Rantanaveya Bhuta Trayasyatmaja Nrpa Sumatir Dhruvo Pratiratha Kandavo Apratirathatmajaha. Ratiu had a son named Rantinava, who had three sons named Sumati, Dhruva, and Apratiratha. Apratiratha had only one son, whose name was Khanva. Hare Krishna.
Shiksha Prabhu.
तस्य मेधास्ति अस्मात् प्रका रुके प्रस्कन्नाद्यः द्विजातयः पुत्रो भूत सुमते रेभि दुष्यन्तो सुतो मतः. The son of Kanva was Medadithi, whose son all Brahmans were headed by Prasanna, the son of Rantidev, named Sumati, had a son named Ravi. Maharaj Dasmanta is well known as the son of Ravi.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Maharaj Dushyant is well known as the son of Ravi. Tusmanto mrigiya hayate kanvasham padam gate tatrasinam swaprabhaya mandayantim ramamiva vilokya shaddo muhe deva mayamiva istriyam babhase tam vararoham bateha katipaye vrata. Once when King Dushyant went to the forest to hunt and was very much fatigued, he approached the residence of Kanva Muni. There he saw a most beautiful woman who looked exactly like the goddess of fortune and who sat there illuminating the entire ashram by her effulgence. The king was naturally attracted by her beauty and therefore he approached her, accompanied by some of the soldiers, and spoke to her. Right? So that the king Dushyant, we have read about him. So he did the next Anilji.
Taddarshana pramuditaha sannibratta parishramaha papraksha kama santataha prahasanja lakshanaya gira. Seeing the beautiful woman, the king was very much enlivened, and the fatigue of his hunting excursion was relieved. He was, of course, very much attracted because of lusty desires, and thus he inquired from her as follows in a joking mood. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Ajay?
का त्वं कमलपत्राक्षि कस्यासि हृदयङ्गमे किंस्त्विच्चिकीर्षितं तत्र भवत्या निर्जने वने. O beautiful lotus-eyed woman, who are you? Whose daughter are you? What purpose do you have in this solitary forest? Why are you staying here? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sachin?
Vyaktam Rajanyatanayam Vedamyaham Tvam Sumadhyame Nahi Chetah Pauravanam Dharme Ramate Kvachit. O most beautiful one, it appears to my mind that you must be the daughter of a Kshatriya. Because I belong to the Puru dynasty, my mind never endeavors to enjoy anything irreligiously. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. ऐसे जो Maharaj Dushyant indirectly expressed his desire to marry Shakuntala, for she appeared to his mind to be the daughter of some Kshatriya king. Tarun?
Sri Shakuntala Vacha Vishwamitra Je Vahe Tattva Menakai Bane Med Tatat Bhagwan Kanvo Viraki Karvante. Shakuntala said, I am the daughter of Vishwamitra. My mother, Menka, left me in the forest. O hero, The most powerful saint, Kanva Muni, knows all about this. Now let me know how may I serve you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so that's how Shakuntala, being the son of Rishi Vishwamitra, yeah, she was living in Kanva Rishi's ashram. Yeah. It says here, Shakuntala informed Maharaj Dushyant that although she never saw or knew her father or mother, Kanva Muni knew everything about her, and she had heard from him that she was the daughter of Vishwamitra and that her mother was Menka, who had left her in the forest. Shiva Prabhu.
Ashyatam harvindash grihata marhanam chanaha bhujyatam santi nivara ushyatam yadi rochate. O king, with eyes like the petals of a lotus, kindly come sit down and accept whatever reception we can offer. We have a supply of Nivara rice that you may kindly take, and if you so desire, stay here without hesitation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, Shiksha Prabhuji.
Sri Dushyanta Uvacha Upapanna midam subhu jadayaha kusikanvaye Swamhi Brinate Ragyam Kanyakaha Sadrisham Varam. King Dushyant replied, O Shakuntala, with beautiful eyebrow, you have taken your birth in the family of the great saint Vishwamitra, and your reception is quite worthy of your family. Aside from this, the daughter of king generally select their own husbands. एक चीज यहाँ मेंशन करना चाहता हूँ, आप लोग जान जाइए, शकुंतला नाम कैसे पड़ा? जब विश्वामित्र जी ने छोड़ दिया और मेनका ने छोड़ा तो जंगल में वैसे ही पड़े थे, तो उसमें शकुन नाम के पक्षी होते थे, अभी तो नहीं मिलते जंगलों में, तो शकुन नाम के पक्षी उनका रक्षा कर रहे थे। कन्नव मुनि वहां से आए और उनको जब उन्होंने वहां से ले लिया तो शकुन पक्षी रक्षा कर रहे थे, इसलिए उनका नाम शकुंतला पड़ा।
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
That's the advantage of having Rasiksham Prabhuji with us. Can know more deep stories. Hare Krishna. So thank you, Prabhuji. And so I think we are going to pause here. And we'll continue reading about this beautiful katha. Yeah. And tomorrow. Meanwhile, let's we had Hanuman Chalisa this Friday, right? It's last Friday. So today we are going to do Hanuman Chalisa and the Aarti. It will take around 7 minutes. Okay. So on the occasion of Hanuman Jayanti.
रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय। बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। मंगल भवन मंगल हारे द्रवहु सुदशरथ अजिर बिहारे। श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि बरनउँ रघुबर बिमल जसु। जो दायक फल चारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार। बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु हरहु कलेश विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस देहु लोक उजागर। राम दूत अतुलित बल धाम। अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार। सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन राजसुवेशा कानन कुंडल कुंचित हाथ वज्र ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जगावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज समारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हर सिर लाए रघुपति किन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीषा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही किन्हा राम मिलाए राजपद दीन्हा तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्त्र जोजन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेली मुख माही जल दिलांगी गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे देते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होतन आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी शरणा तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कापे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमंत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान को लावे कर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुमरे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुमरे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबरपुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बल मीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होई सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरिचरिता नाथ हृदय महिडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरण मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुरभूप मंगल भवन मंगल हारी भवहु सुदशरथ अजर बिहारी आरती कीजे हनुमान लला की दुष्ट दलन रघुनाथ कला की जाके कर से गिरिवर कांपे रोग दोष जग निकट न जावे अंजनी पुत्र महाबलदाई संतन के प्रभु सदा सहाय आरती कीजे हनुमान लला की दुष्ट दलन रघुनाथ कला की देवीरा रघुनाथ पठाए लंका चारि सिया सुधाई लंका सो कोट समुद्र सिखाई जात पवन सुत बारन लाई आरती तिज हनुमान लला की दुष्ट दलन रघुनाथ कला की लंका जारी असुर संहारे सिया राम जी के काज संहारे लक्ष्मण मूर्छित पड़े सकारे आन सजीवन प्राण उबारे आरती तिज हनुमान लला की दुष्ट दलन रघुनाथ कला की पैठ पताल तोरी जमकारे रावण की भुजा उखारे बाई भुजा असुर दल मारे दहिनी भुजा पूजा संत जनतारे। आरती कीजे हनुमान लला की, दुष्ट दमन रघुनाथ कला की। सुर नर मुनि आरती उतारे, जय 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 हनुमान उचारे। कंचन थार कपूर लोछाई, आरती करत अंजना माई। जो हनुमान जी की आरती गावे, बस वैकुंठ परम पद पावे। आरती कीजे हनुमान लला की, दुष्ट दलन रघुनाथ कला की।
बोलो श्याम रामचंद्र भगवान की।
जय।
Mahadev ki jai.
जय।
And so hopefully everyone celebrated Hanuman Jayanti nicely on Friday.
Yes.
And we'll continue to read Srimad Bhagavatam tomorrow 9:30 Eastern Time. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.